6:15, and we are convening the Rock Valley College Community District 511 Committee of the Whole meeting. And I remind you again that we are live streaming, so smile every once in a while. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Gorski. Nelson. Udea.
Here.
Kennedy, yes. It's not. Michaels?
Present.
Is that the correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Simpson.
Yes.
Soltow.
Yes.
Trojan.
Yes,
We have enough for a quorum.
we have a quorum. We have 5. Is there a board member attendance by means other than a physical presence?
No,
Okay. Any communications and petitions? Public comment?
there are no communications or petitions.
Are there any visitors to be recognized?
No visitors to be recognized.
Okay, next item is review of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting, May 14th. Any comments on the minutes to be made? This is, again, not a voting meeting, so it's comments only, and John Nelson just approached his seat,
At 5:16.
5:15.
No,
Thank you, John. We just,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
we just passed the roll call, so you're on, you are now on official. Any minute comments? Hearing none, we'll go to general presentations, strategic plan update.
Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Be very brief tonight. Wanted to provide you a quick update regarding our strategic enrollment activities. We spent the last couple of years very heavily focused on credit hour enrollment. Tonight I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about some opportunities that we are going to dial in directly on that are non-credit and non-traditional student enrollment opportunities. So if, I have the slide, don't I? I was going to ask Betsy to do it. There you go. So in your packet, you hopefully have a summary of this presentation. So as I mentioned, we've spent a lot of time, I think wisely, over the last several years focusing on our credit enrollment and growing there. We've been meeting our enrollment targets each of the last 3 or 4 enrollment cycles, FY calendar years. And we're not shifting any attention away from those efforts. And we've installed our Salesforce CRM tool that you've all been supportive of over the last year and a half or so. And we'll continue to use those tools and all of our assets to continue to support and grow everything we can do with more traditional credit hour enrollment activities, high school conversations, and building networks, okay? But tonight I want to spend a few minutes talking about 4 specific goals, 3 of them really, that focus on our adult ed population, our non-credit student completer population, and our non-traditional student population. And so let's go to the next slide. And we will, along the way, item 4 here speaks to continuously monitoring and improving our data for all students in all categories, improving their persistence, which is typically defined as fall to spring re-enrollment, retention, which is typically fall to fall re-enrollment, and completion rates. And that could be completion of a certificate, a training program, or a degree, based on what those students and academic goals consist of. Questions so far? Okay. So I just want to highlight fairly quickly what these individual goals kind of look like. So our intended goal for the adult education population, which Dr. Smith has spoken about the last couple of conversations we've had in our meetings about that population, is trying to get in front of 100% of all of those students. And we have actually embedded a recruitment staff member, a diverse enrollment coordinator, at the downtown campus on a weekly basis. She's there meeting with the faculty, meeting with the students on a regular and consistent basis. That's a new practice we started last fall. And so we're hoping to build more inroads to that student population to get a better understanding of their needs and how we can support them in their transition upon completion, which is around 75 to 100 students each year complete the adult ed GED program. But we only see about 15% of them enroll in credit courses. Another 5% or so enrolled in non-credit opportunities through the college. So that's only about 20% of those students. We'd like to increase that substantially. Working with Heather's team and Dr. Smith's teams to really kind of create what those numbers are. I don't have numbers for you tonight to give you a specific percentage hour of what we're targeting. We will come back to you with that information at a later date because we want to make sure we really understand all of those student populations before we try to determine what the goal is. But I would certainly want it to be higher than 20%, all of that. So maybe it's 30% or 40%. We'll provide that information to you at a later date. So we are using our Salesforce tool, our staff member on site, and planning a series of summer. We did a series of spring interventions and at their locations on campus, inviting all these students to understand what is available at Rock Valley College in our credit offerings and in our non-credit offerings. So when they complete that GED, they have opportunities. What we know about this population, too, is they don't always want to immediately transition to what's next. They've just completed a major milestone in their lives. They might want to take a year or 2 or 3 off before they return to Rock Valley. So we're establishing relationships, making sure they have program awareness. We are arranging visits for them to come to the main campus. We'll be arranging visits to the ATC, the ACEC, and at some point the next downtown campus. So they're very aware of all the opportunities before them. And then because we're using our Salesforce tool, we can track those engagements, stay in touch with them when they complete their GED, and whether they re-enroll immediately at Rock Valley in some other program, or again, a year or 2 down the road, we're going to stay in touch with them throughout that process. So our metrics will be to increase the adult education program completers enrolling in credit hour programs and in non-credit hour programs. I'm going to stop again and see if there's any questions. I know I'm going a little fast, so.
Looks good.
Okay. Then we're going to do a similar approach in our students that complete non-credit programs. So I know you're very familiar with some of the work that Dr. Stewart and his team have been doing in some of those non-credit programs. Highway construction training, for example, truck driver training, the CNC machining, wonderful programs. Some of those students upon completion probably have opportunities to continue in another opportunity at Rock Valley. And we want to work with those students, get in front of them on a regular and consistent basis. We do have an advisor, full-time staff down at the ATC. We have an advisor who's also spending time at the ACEC and working with all these students to make sure that they understand what opportunities they have available to them upon completion of some of these non-credit opportunities that they're taking currently. And again, we'll be using our Salesforce tools and our recruiting staff to monitor, track, support, communicate with them on a regular, consistent basis so they're comfortable with what's next for them and who they get in touch with to take those next steps. Metrics there, again, increase those completers that finish a credit hour enrollment and from a non-credit program to get into a credit program or take the next non-credit program. And my last slide would be the non-traditional student population, very commonly defined as 25 and over. In our District 511, that's one of the populations that I know that Vice President Snyder has spoken to probably most recently in January, I think during our State of the College conversation, about that's one of those pockets of growth for the population in our region, is the population that's between 25 and about 45. So we've always tried to reach out to that population, but we need to really focus in and hone in on those needs, what they are looking for in terms of educational opportunities, again, whether that's credit or non-credit, and be more intentional about how we're outreaching to our public community partners, our nonprofit agencies, our workforce partners, and try to, again, increase the credit hour enrollment and non-credit hour enrollment of those non-traditional student populations. That's my update. Yes, sir.
It seems to me that's the market of population that should be really strongly targeted.
Yes.
Because as we've seen before, the younger population is going to be shrinking,
Getting smaller. Yes, sir.
whereas this one will be growing.
Correct.
So it's an important market, if you will, to attack.
100% agree.
Thank you. Any other
Thank
questions?
you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Pryor, I had the pleasure of attending a seminar at the Illinois Community College Trustees Association annual meeting, and they talked about how there are maybe 60% of the regular college students of community colleges want to go on and get their four-year degree, and only 10, 15, or 20% do that.
Mm-hmm.
Does any of this encompass those students, or are they in some other program, or they're just an afterthought?
No, they're accounted for, but I'm not sure if I'm going to answer the question what you're looking for. So we do a lot of work today with the credit hour students that are looking to transfer. That's oftentimes they are the more traditional age student, but we have plenty of students that are 25 and older that are also looking to transfer, and we have started with our case management approach in the last October 9th, we launched officially our case management advising tool using the Salesforce software as well. So every student that's enrolled in credit hour, by the time we get to this coming fall semester, every student will have an assigned advisor for them, and one big piece of their assignment conversations when they come in and meet with their advisor is the degree plan completion, first and foremost here at Rock Valley College. How can we help them complete their goal? And then secondarily is also if they're planning to transfer, if they're in the Associate of Arts or the Associate of Science, those conversations always dovetail into what's next and where do you want to go next. And we have a series of tools available that we share with those students. If they're thinking about NIU, we have a series of 2+2 kind of degree plans that we will share with those students and walk through what that would look like. NIU comes to the campus very regularly, and we let those students know when NIU is coming. If we know that they're thinking about NIU, we will let them know, hey, NIU is going to be on campus, on October 13th. Please stop by and try to talk to their staff members. And we try to share that information with them when we can. Does that help? Is that what you were looking for?
Well, yes, and so I would say the answer, I think, to my question is that this program involves more non-traditional students, and that's good, but I don't want to ignore we're here to help the students, and even if they're transferring and they've got their degree from Rock Valley,
Yes, sir.
I think that attracts more students to Rock Valley because it's a much more reasonable cost. It's the legislature is talking about going to same numbering courses so that their transfer is easier, and we want to be part of that whole movement.
Agreed. I 100% agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, well, thank you very much for the presentation on
Thank you,
this
Chairman.
important area. We'll now move on to teaching and learning. Trustee Simpson.
We're going to turn it over to Heather Snyder, who's then going to turn it over to Dr. Smith and then back. And
Good evening. You received your enrollment update in your packet, which reflected enrollments as of last Monday, so more than a week ago. At that time, we were down almost 6% for summer 2, but that reflects a normal fluctuation due to students being dropped for non-payment. After that happens, Patrick and his team work really hard to get students enrolled, paid, so that they can attend. As of today, we're actually 4.6% ahead of this time last year, so that work has paid off. We are 94% to budget and 94% to stretch goal for summer 2, and those classes begin on Monday. For fall, also an update, since things fluctuate so much, we're currently 5% ahead of this time last year with the tuition payment deadline at the end of July. We're 66% to budget and 64% to the stretch goal for fall. Are there any questions?
Any guess on where you think you'll wind up at the end?
Well, that was my question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, that's
John,
fine.
go ahead.
So we've been enrolling about 100 credit hours per day this week. If we continue on that trend through Monday, we'll be probably not 100%, but very close to 100% to goal for the summer 2.
To goal or budget?
They're the same for summer 2, so yes.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to downtown adult learning.
Good afternoon, evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight about the beloved adult learners in our community. And as I will very briefly highlight that, again, we're talking about how when we are deciding on the programming that we're going to have at the Downtown West facility, we thought very intentionally about who are our adult learners. We have decided that we will be implementing human services and criminal justice, growing those programs downtown. So briefly, I just shared that we have some pretty great partnerships with other area agencies. So they have been helping us as we've been working on our curriculum, making sure that they are up to speed, working with people from Rockford Police Department, Beloit Police Department, State's Attorney, things like that. And so we also have opportunities for partnerships with Winnebago County, and so we'll be pursuing those when we move. And then we are bringing back human services as well. So that took a little bit of a break. And we have been meeting with, as you saw, a plethora of area agencies that are working with us diligently to make sure that our program really meets the needs of our community. And so we are excited to see how they both grow, these programs grow, and looking to build on that. Any questions?
Sound good.
Any question? Yes, sir, John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I reviewed this, I was trying to relate it to board policy, and I fell a little short, at least in my own mind, on, I mean, I understand the presentation, but is this just part of the somewhat expanded curriculum for downtown? Is that why we're learning about this, or is it related to any board policy that you know of?
I'm going to let Dr. Sperrin answer that.
It's, I guess you can categorize it as expanded curriculum or expanded academic program that's targeting the non-traditional or adult learner that Dr. Smith was referring to.
And we wanted to bring it because we hadn't shared it out earlier, and we've shared out what we're doing in our CTE areas, and we shared out about adult education, refugee and immigrant services, as well as early childhood.
I think we've seen this curriculum in prior presentations, so this is not brand new.
Correct.
You've been talking about it in the total context of all the curriculum for a long time.
Correct.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you
Amanda.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dual and accredited, articulated credit memorandum, these are, first of all, are they new? Are they renewable? And do they fit the same pattern as all the other dual and articulated credit memorandums of understandings?
So all the agreements tonight, there are two categories. All of them are renewals. The first category is dual and articulated credit. Just a short summary. Articulated credit deals with when students take courses in high school, they get credit for it. Then they take the subsequent follow-up in college, at Rock Valley College, and they get credit, and then they get retroactive credit for the classes that they took in high school. So the ask this evening is for us to approve the dual and articulated MOUs for Pecatonica, Rockford, and South Beloit. All of those are renewals. And the second ask is for renewals for the running start agreements for Pecatonica, South Beloit. And the running start agreements are where students are able to take high school credit. They also do college credit concurrently, and they are able to earn their associate's degree when they finish. So they get both their high school diploma and their college diploma too, or their college degree too, when they are finished. So that's it.
So again, for the MOUs and the running start, these are all renewals?
Yep, nothing is
No
new.
changes to the contract?
No.
Okay.
And you'll see more next month.
Yeah, next
Yes,
month
sir.
we'll have the
Yeah.
bulk of them coming to you.
Yes, sir, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought I saw for a dual and advanced credit that Rockford Christian was in that, but not in the running start. Am I right about that?
They're not in the running start. They only have a dual and articulated credit. That's it.
Pardon me?
They only have a dual and articulated credit. They have nothing for running start.
Okay. Have they been interested, or are they able to
The
participate?
superintendent just wants to take it one step at a time, and for right now, she's comfortable just doing the dual and articulated credit.
And the other question I had was, I saw that the Running Start with Pecatonic and RVC had an Appendix D that listed all of the Running Start programs that are available at Rock Valley College, or that will be available according to that MOU. But that was not in the South Beloit appendices. Did South Beloit?
That's because these schools have an options, Trustee Nelson. They have to choose what it is they want. They could choose to do CTE. They could choose another area if they so, if they so select. So it's up to them. So every agreement is going to be different. Just like with the dual and articulated credit, every school district is going to be different depending upon what they select.
All right, but Trustee Trojan had it right that this is the way it's been with these schools before, and it's just continuing,
Yes.
but they have tailored it to their own needs or wants.
Yes, so Rockford Christian is the newest of all the lot because they had just started with us last year. So this is their second year with us with the dual and articulated credit.
Are they, do you think they're happy? I mean, they
Yes,
should
they
be.
are. Yes, they are.
All right. I have no other questions.
I think, Kristen?
Yeah, I just have a general question about the programs. How do they choose the students, or do the students show interest? I'm just generally
The
curious.
students will show interest, and they have eligibility requirements that they have to meet for like Running Start. They have to have a certain GPA.
Is each school different, or is that a Rock Valley requirement?
It's a Rock Valley requirement, and the schools help us to be able to select the students. So they
Well,
go through
we
a
have the
process.
Rock Valley, every student has to still meet our Rock Valley College requirements. But as far as selecting the students in the high school, those districts sort of determine their selection process. And so they're different. Some of them will just say, have the students come talk to us. Others have them create a list. RPS has a list they create, and they limit the number of students that can participate in it. And then after that, they send them to us so that we can help those students
So the
enroll.
schools
The
have a
districts.
certain amount of students they allow? Like, can you give me an example of, say,
But it
South
depends on
Beloit?
it depends on the schools. Like RPS, for instance, for their Career Jumpstart program with us, they had limited to 40 students. Other school districts go larger, some go much smaller. So, for instance, if you take a look at the number of students we served last year, for Rockford Christian, it was 28 students. For Pecatonica, for their Running Start program, it was 4 students. For their MOU, for their dual and articulated credit, it was 10 students we served last year. So it varies. South Beloit was 16 students. So it really varies according to the school districts.
So when they take, and I'm sorry that I'm asking questions, it's not about that. I mean, it's about this, but when they take a class at Rock Valley, that's where they're getting the high school credit? Does that make sense? Or are they taking all the high school classes and all the Rock Valley classes?
No, they're going to get credit for high school and for college credit too as well.
With the college class?
Yes.
The
Okay,
college
so they're
class is
replacing a high school
replaced.
class with a college class and getting credit?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
You get credit in 2 places.
And for Running Start, for instance, if the students start in their junior year, they could complete the 2 years, and they could get the associate's degree with their high school diploma. If they started in their senior year, they'll get 1 year of college credit, and then they have to finish the other year with us.
So do they come mostly to Rock Valley, or do they do like half of their day at the high school and then half of their day here, or?
Yeah, they do it half-half, yep.
John?
As I understand it, and I didn't pore over this portion of the contract, but don't the high school or the school districts, I mean, they help pay some of the tuition here, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
I mean, that's what, I mean, that's one thing we're getting out of this.
yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I just have
Gloria.
a short one. Did I hear you say that RPS has 40? Is their limit now?
No, that's what they capped for their Career Jumpstart program last year with us. They had capped 40 students.
Okay,
That's what they decided.
okay, because I remember for a while there, they were only at 20. And, yeah, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure
the
I
Running
heard you.
Start, yes, yes. The Career Jumpstart, yeah, the Running Start, yep.
They should be at 100.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay,
So like, for instance, this year they will not, last year I brought you a senior semester agreement for them. This year they are not doing with that because not many students register for the senior semester program.
okay,
So I'll not be bringing that back.
okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Yep.
I think at some point, we would like to see a chart listing all the schools and maybe the past 2 years and the current year
Yeah, but we do
for
that
both
every,
programs.
we do that every year for you. I give you in September, October, a full rundown of all the
Right,
early
once you're,
college
you're right.
programs.
So it'd be
Yep.
when in September we'll see the whole?
September, October.
With a 2-year history, 3-year history?
Typically 3.
Not just 1 year, I want to see the trend,
Sure.
3 years. We usually go with a 3-year.
3-year trend.
Yes.
Okay, a chart, 3 years, all schools, both programs.
Yes.
Yes, sir, John? Oh, you're
I was
saying yes?
imitating Howard's. Howard likes to do the three, so.
Okay. Okay, so that takes care of item 3 and item 4. Now, this meeting, we're starting something a little bit different, and that is instead of presentations, we are including information packages. And the idea is you read it. If you have questions, we answer the questions. If you don't have any questions, we move on. So we have 2 of those in here, one of which is grants update. Does anybody have any questions after reading it? I do. Alan, where does these 18 million or whatever million of dollars accounted for on the income statement? Do they all go into grants or do they go by state and so on?
So if it is a grant that we are paying expenses out of, it all flows through Fund 6, which is a restricted fund, so that it is a zero net to the college at the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, I see.
So if we get in, say, $100,000 for a particular grant that runs from July 1st to June 30th,
Yeah.
we recognize the revenue in Fund 6, and we also recognize the expense of $100,000 in Fund 6, so it is zero to the
Zeroed
college.
out. Okay, thank you. Any other questions on grants? Yes, John?
I read that there are 700 participants in a total of 5.5 million spent. Is that, I mean, are we, I'm sure we're maximizing our bang for the buck, but is that, does that make seeking these grants worthwhile? Ellen, that's my question.
So you're speaking about the upcoming grant for the Strengthening Community Colleges Training Program, which will be starting soon and lasting for a period of 4 years. I will say, I mean, grants are challenging to manage, but typically we put personnel into the grant so that we can manage the funds both fiscally and programmatically.
And so, yes, it's worth it. The grant dollars are worth it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you say?
Okay, all set, John?
Yes.
Any other questions on the grants?
Nope.
If not, we'll move on to manufacturing student success. This is a presentation that was made last year at Las Vegas to the ACCT convention,
Yes, sir.
national exposure. So this is the actual presentation that was made. Are there any questions? I do. On chart, all the number chart here, 9,175 unduplicated head count for credit, 10,767 for duplicated. Are there any, how can I say it, is there any duplication between the two? Or are they unique? Is it 19,000 unique students in the 2 categories? Or is there some overlap where they take credit as well as non-credit? You know what I'm saying?
There could certainly be overlap. I think the overlap's minimal, but if you think about
Wow.
the non-credit students served, that includes all of like our community education, which is, you know, for leisure. So I could take a course in knitting and also be in a credit program, but it's minimal.
It's also part of the intent of our Department of Labor grant, to look at the students that are in the non-credit programs
Sure.
and develop non-credit pathways so they can go to the
Sure,
credit
absolutely,
program.
yeah.
And so we're looking at that with adult education programs as well. How do we increase that number of those students enrolling in the credit side?
So if I heard what you said initially, roughly, we're serving 19,000 students, even though it might be knitting versus an engineering degree? Is that what I'm
Yes,
hearing?
this is one of the reasons why I've been trying to increase the awareness
Yeah.
of workforce development
Sure.
with the credit side, because when you look at all the students and the entire impact we have on the region, now you can see how large of an institution we really are.
I mean, this is the first time I've seen these kind of numbers, and it's astounding. I mean, it's astounding. 19,000 students that we're serving in one way or another.
I do want to clarify the non-credit is duplicated down there, so I think it's more like 16,000. So it is a lot, but I don't want us to go around saying 19,000.
Maybe it's 15,000.
But
It's
it's
still
a
a
lot.
lot more than the
Yes.
normal 6 or 7 that we like to bandy about, right?
Absolutely. And
I mean, that's the impact of this thing, I think.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make a
Kristen.
comment about the presentation because I saw it, and I saw a lot of presentations in those few days, and I'm not just saying that because I'm part of this, but it was, I think, the best one that I went to. So
Yay.
kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
And there was good interaction with the crowd, remember? And I feel like people enjoyed it. There was a couple that I went to that were snooze fests, so it was very refreshing that it was a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments on the manufacturing thing? If not, we'll move on to finance. Mr. Gorski's not here, so Ellen, let's do the purchase reports.
So we have 5 purchase reports this evening. Some are longer than others. The first one is Purchase Report A, which is the fiscal year 2025 purchases. On there, we do have a total of 4 items. The first one is the Institute for Evidence-Based Change for $35,000. This is the second installment for the Caring Campus training module for faculty, and the first installment was approved in March of 2024. The second item is for Burwood Group for $40,861, and this is for the Aruba Central, the cloud-based management platform that's used by IT. The next item is a to be determined. This expense is for printing and mailing the 3rd edition of the RVC magazine that was bid 24-16. It was opened just recently on Friday. And so this magazine will be delivered to all households between July 26th and August 2nd. So when we come to the board, we will have the vendor who won the bid. It's under an analysis right now. And the next TBD, to be determined bid, is 2415, which is for lawn care services. That was opened on May 29th. Last I heard, it was still under some analysis and verification, so submittals are still being reviewed, and that'll be coming to the board in June as well.
Mr. Chairman, I have a few questions.
yes,
Are
sir,
we going to
John.
go one at a time on those?
Go ahead, John, go ahead.
I did review A. It's supposed to increase student connectedness, if I understand that correctly. Is that that program? I mean, is that the goal of that program from
Amanda, do you
Caring
wanna?
Campus?
Amanda's going to answer that.
Yeah, I can perhaps answer that. It is actually, the end result will be an increase in retention of our students as they engage with their faculty more positively in the first couple weeks. Research shows that they tend to stay longer and finish out. So we're looking, the result of this will be an increase in our retention and completion numbers.
Very good.
It's a part of our strategic plan.
Correct.
Mr. John? Go.
On the second item, I did notice that it seemed, again, that the bid range was, I thought, rather high. There was a high range. And I always ask this question, why was the low bidder so cheap?
Mr. Jenks will answer that one.
We have spoken with them about the software and supplying it, and they say that they have gotten, they are a close vendor with Aruba, and they get discounts. So as far as we can tell, they are the lowest responsive company.
Okay. Then on C, the last two, Alan, I noticed that these involve contracts that we knew were expiring, and you know how I feel about TBDs. We really have no opportunity to, I think, discuss them when they come up at, as they will, for approval. So I would say next year, since we know that now that they're expiring again, can we get a actual report at the committee of the whole meeting, do you think?
We will try, purchasing will try to get bids out earlier, but they can only work as fast as they get the information from the departments that are requesting these bids. And all RFPs have to be reviewed by legal, and that takes time as well.
Well, I understand that, but we got a year. Okay, thank you.
I have a quick one.
Gloria?
Yes, on the publication mailing, I just have a quick question. It goes to all the households. How many are we talking about, approximately?
4?
152,000.
Okay, thank you. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Bob?
Yes.
I have a quick question. So how effective are the, for publication C, how effective are the RVC magazines, or in regards to that?
I'm going to let Heather Snyder answer that.
I don't know if Jen has the data here tonight, but we do track the effectiveness by putting things like QR codes on them to attract people to specific websites so we can see if we have hits based on actually receiving the magazine. So I know a huge focus of that is also awareness, just so the community knows everything that's available at Rock Valley. So it may or may not lead to an enrollment in a specific program, but they should see all the advantages of having a community college available in the district, ranging from Starlight attendance to enrollment in a credit program. So if the board wants more specifics, we can get some of that tracking information at a future meeting.
I would like that. Oh, also one more. Do you guys have online RVC magazines, or is it only paper-wise? Okay.
It's online.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the first item here? Okay, move on to Report B.
Report B is FY25 site rentals. We have 2 rentals in fiscal year 2025. The first is for the iconic building, which was formerly Illinois Holler, that's 99 East State Street. The annual rent is $216,930. The second rental is the land lease for the Greater Rockford Airport for our ACEC, or the Aviation Maintenance Program, for $11,500.
Yes, sir, John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was born here in Rockford, but I couldn't tell you what the iconic building is. Are we talking the news tower?
We're talking the former news tower. It's now been renamed the iconic building.
Great. So I know we wanted to get out of there. Did we try to find some cheaper alternative? I thought we had a line on possibly moving into was it Kennedy Junior High School or what were I guess I'm just asking, what, if any, alternatives did we have?
We did, or I did secure the option with RPS 205 to utilize, I can't remember the name of it, Kennedy? Yeah, part of the building at Kennedy. When we brought this forward to the board for renewal, it was discussed it would be more effective and less disturbing if we didn't have to move the people twice. So it was decided that we would stay at the iconic Energy building, AKA the Rockford Register Star, until the completion of the downtown campus. And then we would move them out one time into their new facility.
So did you do any estimating of what it would cost you to move and refurbish a different place in the meantime? I mean, it must have cost you something.
We did at the time, but that was a while ago.
Okay.
So I don't know. This is a continuation, so.
Yeah, right. No, I understand.
I don't
It could have
remember.
cost you $50,000 to
It would have
move and
easily cost
refurbish and all that,
$50,000
so
to move everybody,
saving
not to
that money.
mention the disruption in the adult education programs and all of the other
Yeah.
items.
And the
I
lab,
think it's the
computer
right
lab.
thing to do is stay where you're at.
Yeah,
Less
that was
disruption.
kind of the consensus
Right.
the last time.
Any other comments on B?
Okay.
Hearing none?
We'll move on to purchase report C, which is the fiscal year 2025 software licensing renewals. I do not plan on reading these all individually since it's A through Q. Are there any, you've had these in your packet, so are there any questions?
I assume all these are already in place?
Yes, they are all in place and they are renewals according to
Renewable,
contracts.
So we're under contract with all of them? Okay. Yes, John?
Did you add up all this money? How much is it?
I did not add it all up. I'd say less than 500,000. No, it's going to be more than 500,000.
More than that.
About 600,000?
Yeah.
Did you add it up?
No. Why? Why would I?
Drum roll.
That's what I was going to ask.
A lot of licenses.
Honestly, I just asked Paul if it's reasonable, and I'll vote with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
these
no
are all-
idea about this stuff.
These are all one-year costs.
All right, these are all one-year costs.
Okay. Any other comments on the licenses? If not,
Thank
next
you,
item.
Ellen.
All right, the next purchase report, and I will not be reading all of these. These are the FY25 blanket purchase reports. There's a couple that I do just want to point out. The first one is on that top line, Healthcare Services Corporation. That increase is due to projected or expected increase in group medical insurance. Whether that actually happens on January 1st is to be determined, but we plan just in case. The next item that I want to mention is the Illinois College Risk Management Consortium, ICRMIC. There is an increase for them as well, and that is for increases in property and liability insurance premiums. We are hearing projected increases coming for those for fiscal year '25. The next item is Marco Technologies. That's $130,000 if you want to go down there, Betty, or Betsy. It is an increase from the previous year, and that is due to a new contract which includes the leasing of the campus-wide copiers plus the equipment and print services. So it's encompassing all of the equipment, where last year was just a portion of it.
What page is that one on?
Which one are you talking about?
2 of 10.
That is
Number 2.
Got it.
50 to 180.
page 2,
Yeah, got it.
towards the top. There you go, Marco Technologies. And then the last item I just want to bring up is coin management services. which is a decrease to $60,000, and that is due to the sale of the Stenstrom Center for Continued Education to RPS 205, and therefore they no longer have to provide snow removal to maintain that property. That is the cost of RPS 205. Are there any other questions on?
Are there any new ones or no? That is all.
I didn't see any new
I
ones.
didn't see any either. All vendors we've been doing business with already, no new ones.
No, there are no new ones on this report.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, John?
Ellen, could you let us know if there are any new ones at the main meeting and what they are?
Sure, I'm not anticipating any changes to this report, so
Pardon me?
I'm not anticipating any changes to this report.
Right, but I think the board would be entitled to know
Okay.
if there's a new thing we're approving that is,
We'll confirm.
we haven't done before. And I'm not disbelieving that there aren't any, but it'd be nice to know if there were.
Okay. And then the next purchase report, which is a purchase report E, is FY24 purchases, and this is to Middleton Ford for $37,390, and this is for a used 2023 Ford Transit Connect full-size passenger van with 29 miles on it. This will be replacing a vehicle that was totaled during an accident in April. Insurance issued a payment to the college of just over $29,000, so the college will contribute the remaining $8,400 to cover that cost. Right now, we are asking for direction from the Board of Trustees that we can proceed to secure the van prior to the board meeting, since the dealership will not hold the van for us until the next board meeting.
So you're kind of asking for our heads to nod. Yes, sir, John?
I've never seen a car dealership do that. You know, can I have some background on why we picked this vehicle? Did we go out for bids, or did we, how did we come up with this?
We searched for used vans online. This is technically a used van, even though it only has 29 miles, because the dealership purchased it from another dealer. So in reviewing all of the different vans that were out there, this one was the most reasonably placed with the least amount of mileage. So we chose this van because of those options. Because it is technically a used van, it does not require us to go out to bid. Buying used equipment is an exemption. So we could purchase this vehicle. These particular vans are no longer made, so we will either have to try and figure out, it's Ford. Ford changes their mind every day.
I'm a Ford customer, I know that.
Yeah, right, so you're familiar. So we felt it was a good opportunity to get a vehicle. The auto dealership originally purchased 6, apparently. This is the last one. It may or may not be there even tomorrow, I don't know.
How much is a new van, or does a new van not meet your needs, or what?
A new van, typically, from what we're seeing, would run a little over $40,000.
Okay.
So, but the problem with the new van is we would have to order it, and I don't know how long it would take to get it.
And this is the all-in cost, correct?
Correct.
Correct, this is
So a
all
new
in.
van at $42,000, that's not the all-in cost.
That's not the all-in cost.
That's the, price tag.
Well, we're not talking a lot of money after spending what we spent on computer stuff.
It is not a lot of
anyway,
money, but it is a good deal, because the vehicle has never actually been driven off the lot. It was sold from one dealership to another dealership, which technically makes it used. So we are getting it at a better price.
Yeah.
well, I'm I will yield to the wisdom of the rest of the trustees on this one.
Bob?
I know, yeah, Gloria.
So are you saying you need to have a motion and a vote tonight?
No.
No, we can't vote on it,
Can't
no.
vote on it.
We can merely sort of say, yeah, it sounds like a good idea to do.
Okay, I see.
You would
So
take
so
the-
what do you say?
I say go for
I
it.
say yes.
I say yes.
Just so it's clear, you would take the affirming vote at the regular meeting.
Right. We take the vote after,
So you
and
can't
at the
change
next
your mind.
meeting.
No, at the next meeting, we
At
have
the
to take
next
the
meeting,
vote.
yes.
But they want to be able to promise
understand.
the dealership we're going to take.
Well,
I'm still learning how to answer this question.
See, but they're always listening.
We would actually need to purchase the vehicle, not promise. Yeah, we would need to purchase the vehicle, not promise that we're going to purchase it.
Yeah,
Just to
we
be
just want
clear.
to make sure that we have the direction of the board in a way to say that there's no surprises when it comes to vote on it.
Right.
If we took action on this
so,
as an administration.
He has a
Nicole?
question.
Have you tested the car, like driving the car yet, or no?
We would do that before we took possession of it. It's up in Middleton, but with the low mileage, and what the dealer has told us, we feel it'll be fine.
Okay, just a little inquiry about that.
Yeah, if it had like 20,000 miles on it, we would go up there and look at it.
All right, thank you.
And we also have a mechanic in-house, too.
Yeah, correct. When we go pick it up, our mechanic will go and he'll give it the once over before we sign on the dotted line.
okay with it?
All right, thank you.
I saw a lot of heads nodding this way, so
Okay. We feel positive about this. Thank you.
okay.
So, yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, so next, we're out of purchase reports. So we're moving on to the cash and investment report. Operating cash and investments as of May 31st is $87.4 million, an increase of $1 million from the previous month. During the month of May, I just want to point this out, I did go to the top a little bit. There we go. I did move $10 million into an ISDLAF term series out of the regular ISDLAF account, and that purpose was to pick up a little bit of interest by purchasing 2 short-term series. And those series were for 30 days and 45 days, and they will both be maturing in the month of June. Capital funds increased in May by $883,000 to $13 million, and most of that change is due to the receipt of tax receipts for debt services. Are there any questions? Nope.
Any questions?
If none, we'll move on to the next board report. This is for the FY24-5 compensation adjustment for non-represented employees. Administration is recommending a salary increase of 3.25% for the educational support personnel, professional staff association, and administration employees. So these are all employees that are not covered by a CBA. The estimated financial impact is about $400,000, and this is included in the FY25 budget.
John?
And can you remind us why it's 3.25%? Does that track anything like any of our other labor agreements?
Our labor agreements are kind of all over the board. I know SSA is at 3%, faculty's at another amount, and the police are at a different rate. It's whatever they have negotiated. 3.25% tracks fairly close to what the CPI index was.
And I remember the faculty negotiated a contract that had some just lump sum payments and percentage increases. Have the non-represented employees received any lump sum payments this year?
This year, no. It was a percentage last year of 3.5%. And this year, we're asking for 3.25.
The pay in the arrears, did we give some of them a lump sum when we did that?
We gave everybody some of
I
that.
think he's thinking about that when we changed our payment structure.
Yeah,
That's the
earlier.
only time we've done that.
Yeah, this fiscal year, we did change from paying current to payment in arrears, and I did a presentation on that at the time. And so to make up that gap of flipping into arrears, so they wouldn't have any budget, individuals who live paycheck to paycheck wouldn't be short. In that switch, we did give them, I think it was 5 days of pay addition, but everyone, all the unions got it except for faculty because they are salary or they're on a different kind of contract. But this impacted SSA, the police, and all the groups we're talking about today.
Right.
Kristen?
Remind me again, and this might have already been said, what did the insurance premiums go up percentage-wise?
They're going up about 10%.
I worry, I just want to make sure that this is enough, because I fully support, obviously. So I just want to, that's a big increase for insurance premiums to be going up. And I don't, 10% of, some people pay $600-700 a month. So just to give you an idea.
Right, and so 10% of an insurance premium is a much smaller dollar than 3.25% of somebody's salary.
I just want to make sure it's not just equaling out, or, want to make sure.
Yeah,
that they're-
it all depends what the employee selects as their insurance plan.
Well,
Yeah, John?
Chris, you could always, I would make a case, but we can amend it on the floor. But if this is what the administration is recommending, and we've got all these labor contracts, I don't know that that's that good of an idea, but, the president might be able to crunch some numbers and come back with a more detailed plan, whether you have an idea that's worth considering.
Can you do me a favor? Can you add like 4.25 and to see what the difference is, just to satisfy our curiosity and see how much it costs the college
4.25%.
instead of 3.25?
Each quarter of percent is about $74,000.
I just don't want employees seeing us put millions and millions and millions of dollars into all these new buildings and upgrades, and then we
Not to mention computer software.
and we don't share with happy employees makes for happy students, which makes for
Labor
happy
peace.
college, which makes for
I agree, but also keep in mind that the funding sources can be different as well, where those
True,
dollar
yes.
amounts come from.
I just want to make sure we're, I know you can't please everybody, but your employees, I feel, need to be
And
number
keep
one.
in mind, and also, let's not forget that we just did a compensation study.
But
to
not
increase-
everybody received an increase in the compensation study, so
Not everybody, but it was a significant number of people that did. And then on top of the CPI increases that we're doing annually. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Are you asking us to do anything at this point in time?
I was just curious on the insurance and.
If she won't, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll ask.
Are you?
What are you suggesting, John?
Yes. Are you asking something right now?
Well, $74,000 for another 0.25% is not a budget breaker. But I don't know why, honestly, Mr. President, I don't know why it's at 3.25 other than, that's what you recommend. And it does not sound unreasonable, but when Kristen brings up the fact that the health insurance cost, and I assume this is to employees, is 10% increase? And it, and I don't, I'm with her. I mean, these are these are people who are not represented by organized labor, which I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but I don't think they should lose money. And I want to make sure of that. I'm with her on that. And if she's asking for more, you know, a further review, or not sure if she wants, I'll ask for.
So
Does that make any sense?
yes, yes, I understand what you're saying. I understand the concerns that you've expressed. I'm not sure if there's a specific ask at this time, but keep in mind that every year we do the annual updates and we do financial indicators and we have a 10-year budget forecast. All of those things have been taken into consideration so that we can maintain a healthy financial budget each and every year. So this was not just throwing on the wall and see if it sticks. We're looking at the budget. I know you understand it, but Ellen has done a great job of maintaining the budget, making sure that we are looking at these financial indicators, also looking at some of these decreases that may happen that Bob was just talking about regarding the K-12 declining enrollments, and we're trying to offset that by increasing enrollment numbers. So all of those things have been taken into consideration, and keep in mind that that 10% impacts all of us as well. So we're looking at that and trying to see what is the best route to go. And so we've had some healthy conversations around this increase and what's the best way of going about it. And we think this is our best plan at this point in time.
Well, I would say last year it was 3.5. I certainly would support 3.5 this year as well. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think you should take a look at it because 3.5 on top of the inflation that we've had and rising medical costs. I mean, what's going to be the net take-home pay for a person after spending money on medical with an increase? You may not get anything out of it.
So now now we have an ask. You're saying look at 3.5, and are you asking us to just bring it to the board meeting and so that you can consider it if you wanted to make an amendment to the 3.25? So that's why I'm like, what are we asking?
I'm ready to support it right now.
An increase
but
as well.
Yes, I'd support the increase.
Okay. 3.5.
We're good.
Boy, you're a tough negotiator for your people.
Okay, we got that one resolved. What's
All
next?
right.
The budget?
Next, we have adopting the fiscal year 2025 budget. There have been no changes to the fiscal year 25 budget since it was presented to the board and tentatively adopted April 23rd. The FY25 budget has been available for inspection in financial services and on the website since May 20th. And the notice of public hearing has been published in the Boone County Shopper and the Rock River Times announcing the budget hearing for June 25th.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, John.
I think you were asked this before, but has anybody picked up the budget or gone online, or you don't know if they've gone online?
I don't know if they've gone online. We can probably check into that and find out for the board meeting, but no one has come to my office.
Okay.
If they have, they haven't asked any questions.
And I've been asked no questions.
And
Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies.
And then the final report is just the certificate attesting to the fiscal year 2025 budget. So basically, that is all just attesting that we've had we will have had the budget hearing and followed the procedures for approving the budget.
Well, I think you got a good budget. I think based on even the first 3 quarters of this year, you're doing quite well. You're holding the line, and I know that Ellen budgets conservatively on both revenues and expenses, so I think we got a good budget going forward for 2025.
I think so, too.
Any other questions? Hearing none?
Thanks.
Good job,
We'll move
Ellen.
on to
Thank you.
Operations. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
And I like your haircut.
Sorry, Trustee Kennedy's.
Yep, Rick Jinks, complete the operations report.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy. Good evening, trustees. We have a fairly light operations section tonight, so I'll try not to take up too much time. The first item is the personnel reports. We do have the interim director of student life and intercultural student services that is being conducted. The interviews are being conducted right now in Dr. Pyre's area. We anticipate that we should have a red line version for this at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, John.
Was this advertised, or was it put out for, or was it just, is it in-house, or you don't know, or?
Patrick?
This has been posted internally for the campus community for opportunities for internal advancement.
Okay. And we're expecting a taker?
We have a very strong response to the internal posting. Yes, sir.
Good.
Good. Well, it's always good to promote from within if you got the resources within. As I think I mentioned before, I've worked and seen other industrial companies, the ones that are really leading in their industry, and frankly, that's what they do. They promote from within. They move people around to different jobs so they learn the business, and they promote from within. And I can cite John Deere, I can cite Caterpillar Tractor, the ones I'm most familiar with, but top companies like that, that's what they do. Any other questions for Rick Jinks? Are you done with your report, Rick?
No, well, I have more. So.
Oh, you got the...
So I have a CO2 update.
Oh, sorry. Missed that one.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a CO2 update. This is just a verbal update. If you recall, when we had talked before about CO2, I'd advised that CDB was looking for the scope of work for the architect selection for CO2. We did complete that. CDB posted the request for qualifications for the architect last week. So that is currently on the streets right now. The anticipation is that CDB will be conducting interviews tentatively the end of August. They specifically say August 26th. We'll see if that actually occurs. And they are looking to present the architect to their September 10th meeting for the Capital Development Board. If that all occurs, there is still, that doesn't mean the architect will start right away. CDB still has to go through the negotiation process with the architects, and sometimes that can take a while, even months. So I will keep you informed as CDB goes through that process, but we are making progress on that project.
So what would be the drop dead for the architect as far as him saying, okay, let's go start building it? I mean, you say a couple months, it could go on, what, 6 months or 4 months? Or
the negotiations could go on.
That's what I mean.
Between, it's totally, we are not part of the negotiations. That is a CDB function. We simply wait until CDB negotiates with the architect and gets them on board.
But I'm thinking is to when the contractor can start doing work.
Well, once we get the architect, we still have to go through about a year of design. And that might actually be about a year and a half through CDB's process.
Wow. 'Cause we want to open it up in August of '26. John?
That was my question, but you know, if I run for re-election, then at least I have an accomplishment I could talk about.
We are at the liberty of CDB on their processes.
Wow. I don't like that.
Well, we want their money.
Better schmooze them. John, you better schmooze them. You're the ICTA person, so
Put your chapstick on.
use your influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you earn your bucks, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. The big bucks I get here.
We may be pleasantly surprised, and they may move quicker than we think, so we can always hope.
Okay.
All right.
Next.
I do have a change order update that was finalized yesterday. This was for the JCSM generator construction. This change order is for $7,460.60. This is basically, we had to increase the wire size on the project, and when the drawings went out, it wasn't caught that they hadn't increased the wiring size. So we did have to go back through and increase that. Additionally, in placing the pad, we had to move it slightly because of some underground items that were discovered during the process. So overall, we had to make some slight adjustments to the site in order to make the pad work where we're going to end up placing it. We had an original contingency of $30,530. This is $530, excuse me. This is the first change order. That will leave us with $23,069.40 in the contingency for that project. Oh, okay. There is, I am passing it around for you so that you can see it.
It wasn't in the original packet because it just happened yesterday.
Sorry.
Correct. We were still negotiating with the vendor.
Okay, John?
Do you anticipate any more contingencies? Is it, or you have no idea, or is it likely, unlikely, maybe?
Well, I suspect that I don't expect any more, and here's the reason why. The pad and the running of the wires is the most difficult portion of it, and that has all been worked out. So right now, all we have left to do is to set the generator in place and basically hook it up and test it. So I don't anticipate any other issues beyond the ones we're seeing, but it could happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope, looks good.
I have one.
Yes, Kristen?
Are we doing anything with the parade again this year, the 4th of July parade?
We're going to speak to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, okay.
That's after me. Dr. Pyro will speak to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you covered on that. So the last item to speak about is the events calendar. I wanted to point out a couple of items to the board. Particularly, the BST has started up again. We have 4 wonderful shows. Legally Blonde just finished its first section, and it will be back in July. I've heard very high compliments on that show.
I saw it. It was excellent.
I've heard that from several people, so thank you. Yeah, Chris and his team are doing a great job. But you can see there's others out there for Guys and Dolls, and The Color Purple, in addition to Newsies that are coming up. So I strongly recommend that you take a look at those. We also have, hold on a minute. Sorry, I lost my place. Sorry. We also have a medical assistant pinning ceremony that will take place in the ERC PAR at 1 p.m. and that will be on the 27th. I believe this is the first cohort to go through. We have 2? Yeah, we have 2. So if any of you can show up and show support for the program, that would be wonderful.
It should be a quick painting ceremony, but you've been to them, so they're special for the students and a lot of the parents that show up, family members that show up.
Yes.
What day of the week is that? I mean, can you? A
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's right here, isn't it?
Correct. It is. The last item I'd like to comment about is the smart camps at the ATC. If you recall, this is actually in Dr. Stewart's area. And I try and make it out there to the smart camps because they seem to make some interesting items that they test out. So it's always fun to go out and see those. So that will be the week of June 28th at the ATC.
But is it still the Friday at 2 o'clock where the ceremony is, the finish up or whatever?
Yes.
I mean, you might
Yes.
want to remind us of that, those dates. Yes, sir, John.
Bob, I think we'd be remiss, even though it's not tomorrow or anything, but I see the robotics competition is 7/27.
7/27, that's right.
Yeah.
8 a.m.
I could bring that up. I was going to bring it up next month, but we can bring it up now. Yes. I strongly recommend going to the
Pressing my
robotics
button.
competition. It's very
We
very
got,
entertaining to
Since
see
you
these.
opened it up, John, we got 30 teams from the greater Midwest area signed up.
Wow.
And as usual, we have 32 teams. It's going to be an all-day, fun-filled event, a lot of noise, a lot of very inspiring and motivated kids that are doing all their things to make these things work and shoot the basket and whatever the heck they do. So it's intended to be quite a good event. Again, this will be our 12th year.
Bob, it's one of your favorite things. I know that.
Yeah.
And it is a wonderful event, I agree. Any other questions or concerns?
Any other questions for Rick? If not, we'll move on to other business, unfinished business, new business.
All right. Want me to start with the new business?
You start with your business, and I'll start with my business.
Fair enough. First, I want to just mention that we had the water main break, and I think you're aware of that, but that was completed as of today?
It was basically completed the same day, but yes, as of today, and we are still compiling all the costs associated. We'll get those.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we know what caused it?
In a nutshell, no. But my understanding is sometimes there, especially in the older pipes, there can be rough debris that's put next to pipes. They used to do that way back in the 60s when these buildings were originally built. And sometimes that rough debris over time can actually wear on the pipes and cause a small leak, crack. Fortunately, it was a very small crack, about 2 inches, so they were able to put a sleeve over it and clamp it down, so it wasn't as bad as what we envisioned.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
I do appreciate the responsiveness and everybody taking care of it, so well done.
Yes, my POM team and Boiler House team are on it very quickly, and they do a wonderful job.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to have Dr. Pyers speak to the parades.
It is that time of year. Heritage Day Parade is Saturday, June 29th at 5 p.m. They want all of us who are attending, and you're all invited, to be lined up by 3:30, so that means probably arriving before 3:30. They want everybody lined up by 3:30. The parade starts off around Jackson and State Street. The details of exactly where we will be in the lineup are to be released around June 21st. So as soon as we have that information, we will share it with the board at the June 25th meeting, any additional details that we will have. We have shirts for all of you have been ordered. They are due to arrive this week, so we'll have those as well, hopefully by the 25th. And then the July 4th parade, Heritage Day is Belvedere, by the way, sorry. The Rockford July 4th parade is July 4th. That's a Thursday. 5 o'clock again is the start time. They want us lined up by 4 p.m. So again, make sure you're making your way down there if you're planning to attend before 4 p.m. Remember that the roads around that area, around 7th Street, they start closing those around 2 p.m. So you can park in different locations, but you might be needing to walk a few blocks to get to that location. Any questions tonight?
Yes, John.
Are our shirts going to be red, white, and blue or anything close to
Say
it?
that, but I thought, no, Kristen, don't say that.
I have good news for all of you. Yes, they are navy, I believe, with a red and white RVC of some Rock Valley College design.
So you look like an M&M.
They'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't even
Good.
No, not now. Yep.
Yes, Gloria.
Just a quick question. Will there be an opportunity to ride?
I believe, yes. We have the tech bus has been ordered, and we have an RVC vehicle as well, I believe.
Tech bus is being a parade, that's good.
Yes, but I don't think we can ride in the tech.
No, you can't ride in the tech bus, but that will be what there is. I believe there's an RVC vehicle that will also be available.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With the door open.
Nico, you had a question?
No.
No. Any other questions?
All right.
Could you please put all that detail in a...
Yeah, it's been sent to Ms. Kurwitz,
keep track
and I
of all
believe
that.
that she is working
When to be where and
to
what
share
time.
that all out.
Oh, no, we'll
As soon as
send
we
it out.
have the final details, hopefully by early next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
And then the last thing I would like to just update on is just that Rock Valley College has received a lot of positive attention regarding workforce development and what we're doing. Last week, I was presenting at Student Education in Florida with about almost 200 people, primarily. Many of them were presidents and some were executive cabinet members. And I was asked to present on some of the projects that we've done and how we move forward, and they were excited about what we've done and achieved regarding workforce development. This week, I'll be speaking at Rockford University regarding their Business and Education Summit. They've asked me to speak about what we're doing in the realm of workforce development as well. On Friday, this past Friday, was the ICTA banquet, the Illinois Community College Trustees Association banquet, and we had a Business and Industry award. Our Born and Co. received the award, and some of the trustees were able to attend that. That may be the first time we've had an industry partner win that award. But it's great to see the notoriety and that's coming throughout the state. Yesterday, Congressman LaHood came to visited the Advanced Technology Center, and I do want to explain why he came. We've been talking to him and connecting and building a relationship, so I've been inviting him for a while. But one of his representatives did a random visit to the ATC, and B was there, and she walked in and said, "Can I just have a quick tour or anything?" B took her on, who's basically Dr. Stewart's assistant. She took her around to see the ATC. She immediately left and said she called the congressman and said, "You have to see it. You need to visit." And so he made it his priority to visit the ATC. And some of you may have seen the positive news articles and things, the clippings that were there regarding that. And the reason why that's important, because we have different bills that are coming down the pipeline, as well as different grant dollar opportunities as well. And we want our legislators to see the work that we're doing so that they can become the champions for us. So kudos to everybody for doing the work they're doing. And one last one. So we have our Illinois Manufacturing Association. We have the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center. They have a manufacturing award, annual award that they do. And this year, in the Educator of the Year category, we've had, I guess you could say, 3 different nominations from 3 different entities or individuals regarding that. So one would be just for the Advanced Technology Center as a whole, that somebody nominated the ATC as the Educator of the Year for the great work we're doing. The second one was we had Bill Ishlam, our welding instructor, who was nominated by CNC, which is one of our partners. And then we also had Lucas Greenlee, who's engineering professor as well, and he's done a lot of work between WTC and ATC, and he was nominated. What we appreciate about it is the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing, so we had 3 different nominations, and they were not coming from us. So we appreciate the fact that we're being recognized locally, statewide, and nationally regarding our efforts in workforce development. And that ends my updates.
I think you may want to start thinking about adding on to the Home of the Champions to say Home of the Champions and award winners or something like that, because they're starting to stack up. You know, the academic awards, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, that's why we're here, right?
So my son, who is 26, he was bored and decided to sign up to do the welding class.
Oh, really?
And he had very positive things to say about his professor, whoever was teaching him, which was who you just
Bill
mentioned.
Islam?
Yes, and I would call and check up and be like, how's it going? He's like, Mom, he's phenomenal. He, is very relatable, and he teaches, just, it was remarkable, all the things he had nice to say. So, I can see why kudos to him too as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I have one old business. July 22nd, which is Monday before our board meeting, is the end of our 90-day policy review, at which point we will be out of compliance. So at the board meeting of the next day, we're going to put up for vote reinstating the present policy manual, because in order to make any kind of changes, it takes two meetings, two consecutive monthly meetings, and I don't think any of us want to have policy meetings during the summertime when HLC is just right around the corner. Because when HLC comes around, they're going to be looking at things even within the recent 6 months, and if they see that we're reviewing our policy manual in the middle of the summer, I don't think it's going to hold well for us. So I am proposing that we put it back on the ballot for approving to go back to the present policy manual as it is, with no extension, and we will plan to review section by section over the next number of months or year or whatever it takes, but slowly go through it rather than try to rush it through. So that's my recommendation, and it'll be on the agenda for the June board meeting, July 23rd. Yes, sir, Paul.
I'd just like to
June 23rd.
remind you, Chair Trojan, you set the agenda, so if that's what the agenda is, that's what the agenda will be. So, okay?
It'll be one of the items on the agenda. It'll be other items.
But Bob, are we
John.
talking June, the next meeting, or July?
I'm sorry, June 23rd. It'll be on the June 23rd
Okay.
board meeting agenda. Right?
Yes, confirming
say
that
so.
date, yes.
I think it's the 25th.
25th. June 25th, regular
Yeah.
board meeting.
I was just
It is the
saying, wait a
25th.
minute, that's the 23rd.
Well, you know what I mean.
But
The
Bob
next
wants to
board-
get this done. He's going to go early.
Yes. The
Well,
July
today is- today's the
23rd,
11th. Yeah,
the July
25th, you're right.
23rd would be out of compliance, is what you're
We'll
saying.
be out of
but
compliance, and
June
that's-
25th is when you want to like
that's-
vote.
that's the key.
Remind me again when we're supposed to have breakfast with HLC or whatever it is.
October 14th,
15th.
Word.
15th, whatever.
Tuesday, October 15th, because Monday, October 14th is Columbus or Indigenous People Day.
Yeah.
Now, and you're buying breakfast there, Mr.
Yeah,
President?
he'll buy breakfast.
Huh?
The college will buy breakfast for you, John. What would you like, bacon
All
and
right,
eggs?
well-
Eggs over easy or what?
I want a breakfast sandwich. I want a croissant.
Okay, any other items? If not, next regular Board of Trustee meeting, June 25th, 2024 at 5:15. The meeting will be held in the Performing Arts Center, room 0214 in the Educational Resource Center on the main campus. Next Committee of the Whole meeting, July 9th at 2024 at 5:15. Meeting will be held in the PAR room 0214 in the ERC on the main campus. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second by John. Thank you very much, trustees. Thank you very much, staff.
Do we
Got to take roll.
going to vote?
Pardon me?
We got to vote, don't we?
We got to vote.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes. Gorski.
Why, yes.
You want to leave?
Nelson.
Yes.
Padilla.
Yes.
Kennedy, yes. Michaels.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Soto.
Yes.
Trojan.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Were there crickets or cicadas when you were